Derek Jansen. Sorry, my name is Derek Jansen. I am the current regional commissioner. I live in Western Springs, so obviously live right here in the area. I have a 12-year-old in the program, and I have a 3-year-old in the program. So very passionate about what we do here and putting forward the right program for kids and just trying to make soccer fun. Thanks, Drew.
All right. And away we go. Let me just share the screen real quick for folks. Okay, so if hopefully you're seeing a screen right now of our presentation. If we have any technical issues, if you can't hear me or see anything, then feel free to interrupt and let me know. Also, I do think we have some folks on the phone and not able to necessarily see the presentation. So I may be reading some of these slides just to make sure everyone is on the same page. So this is just sort of a quick outline of some of the things we're going to go over. Really, at the end of the day, we want you to know all that we're about and what to expect, not only in the weeks ahead, but also what to expect from us as a program. So let's talk real quick about who we are. We're American Youth Soccer Organization, AYSO. What else does AYSO stand for? All Your Saturdays Occupied. Most of our game activities are going to be on Saturdays. And if you have multiple kids, you may have some kids in playground soccer, which is primarily for 3-year-olds and some 4-year-olds. You may have kids in higher divisions that are on teams. And there's always going to be plenty of action on your Saturday, especially if you have multiple kids. Some folks on this Zoom tonight might represent parents of our playground soccer program. That program does not have teams. They're doing fun sessions run by our United coaches, which are our professional coaches. Some of you may be parents of our EPIC program, or what used to be known as VIP. That's a program that we run for kids with special needs. And then we also have other programs as well. So this presentation tries to consider and keep in mind parents of all the different programs. And I know that some of you have playground soccer kids where some of the team talk that we're going to have tonight doesn't necessarily apply. So also about who we are, AYSO is a national organization, and this is the 60th anniversary of AYSO this year. Our particular region in this community this is in our 43rd year. We are one of the largest AYSO regions in the country, one of the 5th largest, and we're by far the largest AYSO region in the Midwest. We have nearly 3,000 kids every year. We'll have over 240 teams this season, and roughly or just over 1,800 total families. AYSO is a national organization, has a mission which we totally strive for, which is to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs that promote a fun family environment built on the foundation of our 6 philosophies. And AYSO's 6 philosophies are at the bottom of the screen here, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. So in terms of who we stand for, our culture, our values, it's very much built on the 6 philosophies. And we do have the vision statement, which is to provide world-class youth soccer programs that enrich children's lives. Our 6 philosophies start with, in no particular order, but we're just going to start with everyone plays. Everyone plays is not just an idea that kids get on the field. It's a mandate. For our teams, U5 up to U19, every player is to play at least half of every game. This is why we have roster limits in terms of number of kids on a roster. This is why we have we play in 4 different quarters in U5 through U8. It's to ensure that we have ample playing time for all of our kids knowing that they're not going to love soccer, they're not going to learn soccer, they're not going to improve their soccer skills if they're just sitting on the sidelines. Balanced teams is a major challenge, but we do the best that we can to ensure that teams have relative balance to the other teams within their division in terms of skill, athleticism, basically any attribute of a player that impacts a game. We're trying to avoid blowouts. We know that any game, let alone soccer, is more fun if it's more competitive. And so for that reason, we want to ideally, it doesn't always work out, but ideally have balanced teams for a more fun experience for the kids. Open registration simply means that if you're in our core program, if you're in playground soccer, certainly, there are no tryouts. We don't have physical limits on letting kids from different towns play in our region. And so open registration means open to all, regardless of playing experience, skill level, etc. Positive coaching. While we have volunteer coaches, this really applies to ideally all of our parents, even those that are spectators on the sideline, to be positive coaches, encouraging our players, not just to get down on our players and criticize them, but encourage them, be positive as coaches, be instructive, and we don't want, ideally, selfishly, we want kids to continue to play soccer and enjoy playing soccer and enjoy hopefully improving in soccer, both in terms of skill and soccer IQ. Good sportsmanship, at the end of the day, us as adults are the gatekeepers for good sportsmanship. If you have a child in U5 or U6, there's a good chance that they've never played on a team before. So part of the learning experience of playing in AYSO, or for that matter, any team sport, is learning to play together as a team with your teammates, learning sportsmanship in terms of the opposition, the opposing players, as adults and kids, showing that we're good sportsmen when it comes to the referee, not abusing a referee, not criticizing the referee, but just playing the game and the game experience. So as adults, we are models for good sportsmanship, hopefully. Player development, again, this is another of our 6 philosophies. We want to make sure that a kid playing soccer can be as good, can become as good as they want to become. For this reason, we drill this into our coaches, that player development is part of the AYSO experience. Every player is going to have a different sort of trajectory, incremental improvements in different ways. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but player development is key, not only for our team play and our volunteer coaches, but it's also why we offer clinics during the season. We have player clinics, which I'll talk about a little bit later in more detail, but player clinics that come with the cost of registration with our program, so you already paid for them. And these are run by professional coaches, our United coaches, who are extremely talented. And we offer clinics for different age groups 4 days a week. If you wanted to, you could go to 4 different clinics on 4 different days for your child. They are age-appropriate activities and skill development, and it's a wonderful value if you can fit it into your schedule. So these are our programs. Epic, that's what was formerly VIP. Playground soccer I talked about. We also have United, which is more competitive, playing in other travel leagues. And then we have a program called United Academy, which starts at U8, or basically 2nd grade level. And that's more of what we would call an in-house competitive league, where you play on a core team, what we call core, with a parent volunteer coach, but you also play on a second team with a professional United coach running that team. So you'll have 2 practices a week, 2 games a week. And again, that's called United Academy. All right. Oops. Just a second. Okay. So who we are as AYSO is also we're all volunteers. There's one type of paid staff that we have, only one, and that's our United coaches. Derek's a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. We have many other volunteers on our board, division coordinators who build teams, for example, all volunteers. No one's paid in any form or fashion other than paid in smiles of kids, and that's it. So that's who we are, and we, some of us volunteers like myself have been at this for a while. We always need new volunteers, new parents to get more active because guys like me are going to be around forever, Derek, et cetera. So we appreciate and encourage folks to get more involved when you're able. Our regional board meets typically every first Monday of each month, with some exceptions. And we do have a schedule of board meetings at ayso300.org/board. We also have on that webpage, I believe, some vacancies on our board. At the end of the day, this is kids soccer, but we take soccer fun very seriously. And it's not rocket science. It's not neurosurgery or anything fancy. It is volunteers, parents like you, like me, who are committed to their kids having a good experience playing soccer. So we don't want to overcomplicate it. We don't want to scare anyone by saying we have a board and whatever. In case in point, most of our meetings we meet at Irish Times, which is a restaurant bar in Brookfield. So it's very casual and it's social. So we encourage folks to get involved if they could fit it into their schedule. Next meeting is Monday, September 9th. So this icon, kids in the middle, this triangle, is also what we're all about, the AYSO team. We have parent volunteers who are referees, keeping the game safe, fun, and fair. We have parent volunteers who are coaches, focusing on positive coaching, player development, good sportsmanship, also keeping the game safe, fun, and fair. And we have the rest of the parents who are doing all sorts of other volunteer activities as part of the AYSO team, whether it be painting fields in preparation for Saturdays, helping out with uniforms. There's a laundry list of other work that needs to be shared and needs to be done, and it's all being done by parent volunteers. Picture day, and the list goes on and on. So at the center, in the focus of all of this, is of course the kids. And so we can relate this triangle to the season in general, trying to make it a great experience for our kids, the best experience possible for our kids. But also, let's think about this triangle in terms of Saturdays. This means that if there's a referee call in a game, we don't disrupt that game. We let the kids play. We don't yell out at the referee. We keep in mind and keep in focus what's most important during that game and on that Saturday, and that's our kids. We ask our kids when they're on a sports team, when they're on an AYSO team, to work together, to help each other, to protect each other, have each other's back, to do their best, to have fun, and maybe score a goal. And as a team of volunteers, as parents, we have those same objectives and those same the same sort of shared needs to do all these things, to work together and to make it all happen. Making soccer dreams happen, making, again, it to be a great experience for our kids so that they have fun on Saturdays and throughout the season. All right, let's talk about where we play soccer. All of our activities, games, practices, clinics will take place in either Western Springs, LaGrange Park, Brookfield, or Countryside. The map that you're looking at right here is why we're one of the largest AYSO regions in the country, because there's plenty of people, plenty of density, plenty of rooftops and schools in this area. And so we represent each of these communities. Sometimes parents and maybe some of you think that we build teams based on school or based on town or municipality. And the reality is we do not. We are building teams which will have a mix of different kids from different schools, from different towns. You may live in Brookfield, but you may have games this season in Western Springs and vice versa. So that's who we are as well. That's who we've always been. And for this reason, when your kids go to high school at Lyons Township or Riverside Brookfield, there's a good chance they're going to know a lot of people that they've met through AYSO over the years. SRP is Spring Rock Park. And the reason we have a slide just for Spring Rock Park, located in Western Springs, is because we have a storage facility there that we call the shed. We also have many fields, as you can see from this map, that we play soccer on. But because we have one of our storage facilities at the park, we tend to have different types of functions and activities at the shed in terms of picking up equipment for coaches, potentially picking up equipment for field volunteers. And so just want you to know, if you're new to the league, the shed or Spring Rock Park is here in Western Springs. All right, we're going to talk a bit about what's coming up in the fall. We have a timeline that we set as ideal. And most of this conversation is about the teams, the U5 and older core teams. And so we have an ideal timeline, and then unfortunately, sometimes that timeline shifts. And the reason that timeline shifts as we're trying to get into the fall season is because in this case, currently, we still need volunteers for certain divisions as head coaches. But let's talk about what's to come in the next couple of weeks. For team assignments and playground session confirmations, that'll be happening as soon as possible. Team assignments meaning you have a child in, let's say, B7 division, which is U7 boys. We will by parents as soon as rosters are available, and we will do that as soon as possible. The playground soccer session confirmations, those already went out. So if you're the parent of a playground player, you should have received yesterday an email confirmation just confirming what session we've assigned your child to, with some other details about playing in playground. And there'll be a second email about playground soccer confirmation next week as well. For kids in our core program, on a team in our core program, we're going to try to get rosters posted and released and public as soon as possible. We can't do that right now because we still don't have enough head coaches in two different divisions, our U7 boys, which is predominantly first grade boys, and our U14 co-ed division, which is 7th and 8th grade kids. And we will eventually stop waiting on those head coaches and just get the other divisions out. But the bottom line is that any delay that's happening for the rosters or the schedule, it's because for the last 3-4 weeks, we've been frantically trying to get more parent volunteers to volunteer to head coach in all divisions. But in the last 3 weeks, the good news is we've probably had about 30 or 40 parent volunteers step up and agree to head coach. So that's the good news. So we're almost there. We're getting there. And again, we are trying to get this information out as soon as we can. For our U7 and older divisions, first grade and older, the practice schedule is determined ultimately by the head coach and his coaching staff, his or her head coaching staff. The head coach will set a recurring weekly practice day, time, and field location. and that will be the day, time, and field location for the entire season, for the fall season. So as soon as the coaches schedule those practices, then they will contact their teams and let them know what the practice schedule is. Again, the problem is we're not there yet because we don't have rosters completed. Our U5 and U6 teams play only on Saturdays as a team. They start with a 30-minute practice followed by a 24-minute match against an opposing team. So there are no practices during the week for U5 and U6 teams. We do have clinics for them and all the kids older than them during the week, but those are optional. In terms of our game schedule, we will release a game schedule for Saturdays, and that will have a start time for every team within every division. The start time for U5 and U6 teams is the start time for their 30-minute practice. The start time for U7 and older teams is the start time for their kickoff of their game. And so we will get the game schedule, like the rosters, out as soon as possible.
Hey, Drew,
Yes.
if I could just, yeah, if I could just add a quick note and relate to a question that was in the chat as well too. So as far as the practice schedule goes, the head coach will schedule what works best for them, right? They're obviously responsible for ensuring that they are at practice as much as possible. Most times those coaches will try and take a little poll of everyone on the team to ensure that they can get as many people as they can there. But if there's ever a time that the player on the team can't make it to the team practice, that's a great opportunity to make it up and go to one of those clinic sessions. Again, the clinics are free. There's no extra charge for the clinic. So, take that opportunity to go to the clinic and have some extra soccer time with one of our United coaches. And missing practice time for a core coach will not impact your game time. I'm sorry, missing practice time for a core practice will not impact playing time for that game. So I just wanted to drive home that point there too.
Yeah, and I'll just add that at practices for U7 and older during the week, it's mandatory that there are at least two adults present during that practice. So when a head coach is trying to determine when they're going to schedule a practice for their team, what we ask them to do is to also make sure that they're checking with their assistant coaches, or if they don't have enough assistant coaches, to recruit assistant coaches off among the parents on the team, because again, for the importance of having at least two adults at every practice, it's for everyone's safety doing that, and obviously just best practices. And if you've been a coach for first graders or second graders, you need almost an army of parents just to keep them doing soccer versus running on the playground. So those are all things that factor into what a head coach should be considering when they're just in addition to what Derek said, when they're selecting a practice day and time. All right, in general, you can find dates for the season in two places: ayso300.org/calendar, which is on our public website, or the events section of our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/AYSO300. When we get weather, first off, soccer is played in the rain. It's generally no big deal. If there's too much rain, of course, that can impact the field conditions. And sometimes fields will get closed either the evening before Saturday or Saturday morning, either by a park district, or sometimes we will make the call on canceling games at certain fields. The procedure that we have, the protocol for notifying parents, is pointing you to our website, our public website, which is ayso300.org. There will be a field status button on our homepage that you can click and then see for different park districts, because again, we play in 4 different park districts, whether there are fields closed the morning of Saturday games. So we commit to updating that field status page by 7:30 a.m. And the first slot of games for U5 and above start as early as 8:15 a.m. So we're giving you as much notice as we can, in the sense that we as volunteers have to go out and inspect some of these fields. And so we're not going to be able to do that and give you an answer and get Park District announcements any sooner than 7:30 a.m. on the morning of. During the week, we update the field status page as well for practices for U7 and older, and also status of clinics if they have to be canceled. And so we'll update the website by 3 p.m. on a weekday if there are any closures or cancellations as of that time. If after 3 o'clock on a weekday or after 7:30 on a Saturday, a storm comes in, let's say, and keep in mind, we have a large geography of where the fields are. So storms could impact one field and area and not another within our region. But if that happens, we're going to not be able to update the website because good chances are I'm refereeing a game. Derek's out with his son at a game. So we're out there too, enjoying, trying to enjoy soccer. So it's going to be a game time decision by a combination of the referee and the coaches at the field as to whether the field is playable, for example, or if it's been too damaged by weather, or if there's any sign of lightning or thunder, we need to immediately suspend the game, and that game's going to be canceled at that point. So if there's any questions about this, we can talk about it at the end of the presentation. There are times where we have fields that are not playable, but we can scramble in the morning before 7:30 a.m. and actually relocate games from one field to another, maybe. It's not always possible, but if we can, we will try, because at the end of the day, we want to let the kids play. If you're on a core team, U5 and above, for each age group and division, there is what we call game guidelines or division guidelines. There are none that apply to playground soccer, because playground soccer, there are no teams and there are no soccer matches. Again, playground soccer, if you're 3 years old, and I'm sorry, this date's wrong. It says 9/1/19. It should say 9/1/20. But if your child is 3 years old by the start of the season, they are eligible for playground soccer, which is run by our United coaches. For our core program, again, if you go to AYSO 300. Well, I didn't say this before. If you go to AYSO300.org/guidelines, you will see the different divisions and the different rules and guidelines for each age group in terms of the game of play. Even if you're not a coach or a referee, as a parent, it still may be helpful for you to look at, because we don't want to measure what we're seeing as far as, let's say, a 3rd grade soccer game, AYSO game. We don't want to measure what we're seeing based on what we think we know of soccer. It's going to be, we have age appropriate rules, which aren't necessarily 100% the rules of soccer. And so this is a screenshot on the screen right now, just as one example. You will see, as a parent, it would be useful, the ball size. And I'll just tell you right now, for U5 through U8, the soccer ball size is a 3. For U9, U10, and U12, the size is a 4. And U14 and U19 is size 5 soccer ball. The reason I'm telling you this is because ideally, we encourage all players to have their own soccer ball. We give coaches equipment that includes some soccer balls, but we don't give them a soccer ball for every player that's going to be on their team. And the main reason for that is we want kids to bring their own soccer ball. It promotes player development, and the kids, generally speaking, enjoy having their own ball. So we definitely encourage that. As I said, every U5, U6 start time on a Saturday starts with a 30-minute fun, full 30-minute practice, followed by a small-sided match versus an opposing team. We're going to encourage coaches to contact the parents on their team as soon as possible. But of course, that's only after we get them their roster, and we're not there yet. So hopefully I would say by end of or late part of next week, hopefully you'll start hearing from your coach. Um, and um, and then just to be clear, our U5, U6 divisions, they are not co-ed. So you're either in a boys division or a girls division. And we'll talk in a minute about uniforms. So all teams, all core teams will get enough uniforms for the players on the team. And the uniform that you will receive for your son or daughter will include a jersey, a pair of shorts, and socks. Your kids are required to wear shin guards, and we do not provide those. Soccer cleats are not required, but they are recommended. And this Saturday, we'll have a soccer cleat exchange event from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the shed at Spring Rock Park. That will be an opportunity for any parent to come and donate soccer cleats that they can no longer use, but also pick up, try on, take home soccer cleats that they find at the shoe exchange that fit their child. We're accepting donations for soccer cleats only and AYSO jerseys from past seasons, but that's all. And again, you'll get with your uniform from your coach a jersey, shorts, and socks. Head coaches this Saturday will be coming to the shed as well to pick up their equipment bags and a box of uniforms for their team. If you receive a pair of shorts that are too big, too small, what have you, we do have extra sizes of shorts in the shed. And after you get your uniform, if you want to reach out to our uniform director or coordinator, uniforms at ayso300.org is where you would reach her. And whatever questions you may have once you've got the uniform, let her know. I will tell you this, though, the uniforms are not customized specifically for your child. We have sort of a typical range of sizes in each division, and we encourage the head coaches when they have their first practice or their first team meeting, we encourage them to line the kids up in order of size and then hand out the jerseys and shorts that way versus just letting people pick their number and that sort of thing. So hopefully they do that because it's a way to ensure that the larger kids get the larger uniform, the smaller kids get the smaller uniform, etc. Okay. At Picture Day, which is Sunday, September 15th, we will have a table set up where we'll have extra shorts out, different sizes, never worn before shorts, if parents need a smaller pair, a larger pair. We'll also have whatever shoes were left over after this Saturday's shoe exchange, and we'll do that all over again too if parents still need to look for soccer cleats. When you do get your shin guards, which again, you need to provide, this is a quick demonstration. The shin guards go underneath the socks, not over the socks. So safety is always the most important thing for us as a league. Shin guards are part of that, but also a requirement, no jewelry on the field. So for ear piercings, earrings, those need to come out. If you are considering piercing your daughter's ears anytime soon, please, what we would prefer is you wait until after the season, because referees, the rules are, and referees will follow this rule, no earrings permitted during play for safety reasons. So if it's starter earrings that are supposed to stay in place, as you can see, that would be a real problem if if your child is wearing them, because referee's going to say they need to come out. Um, Proper shoes, again, does not require soccer cleats. However, no football cleats, no metal spikes, no shoes with like a toe cleat. Um, Goal safety, we have some goals, especially the U7, U8 level, that are extremely heavy and extremely enticing for kids to hang on. So please, 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 whether it's your kid or someone else's kid, please tell kids not to hang on those goals. We have anchors that are intended to anchor the goals down so that they don't tip over. But in case those don't do their job or there's one missing, we need to make sure that no kids are climbing on or hanging on the goals. It's a huge safety issue that we all need to do our best to try to avoid. Again, severe weather, no compromise on this. If there's lightning or thunder in the area, we see it or we hear it, we need to suspend play immediately. And then concussions, and there is this, our safety page, ayso300.org/safety. If we see a possible concussion, we want to err on the side of caution and make sure that the player is okay and moving to the sideline if they're showing, if there's any indication or a suggestion that there's potential concussion. Talking about going back to one of our 6 philosophies, player development. I mentioned the clinics. Playground soccer is really the start of player development. We're planting the seeds of soccer and soccer skills. And if you go to ayso300.org/clinics, you'll see more information about the clinics I was describing before. There's also a link on that page for the clinic schedule, which has not yet been posted, but when it is, there'll be a link on that page to view the clinic schedule. If there's any interest in our United program, which is basically 5th grade and up, or our United Academy program, which is basically 1st grade and up, again, it's an additional time commitment for soccer. It's also an additional cost. But we try to keep those costs down and keep these programs as accessible as possible to you. One way that we keep the costs down is we actually host many of our professional coaches in our own homes. We're able to keep those costs down, which helps keep your costs down in terms of paying for United and United Academy. If you're at all interested in, you got an extra room, an extra wing in your mansion, you got any interest in hosting one of our United coaches, feel free to email united@ayso300.org. Any interest in our academy program, email academy@ayso300.org. Our EPIC teams or program, formerly VIP, that takes place Saturday afternoons. That is in conjunction with Lyons Township High School soccer players who help volunteer and our buddies, player buddies, to our EPIC players. And of course, our United coaches are heavily involved. They're helping to run our playground program, our United program, our United Academy program. They also help participate in kind of mentoring some of our parent coach volunteers. We will have opportunities for our United coaches to come to some of our core team practices to help kind of mentor the volunteer coach as they run a practice. So those are opportunities if you happen to be a coach to also where our United coaches also add value to all of our programming. back to playground soccer, we will your child, if he or she is in playground, does not need cleats, does not need shin guards, does need comfortable clothes and shoes to run around, jump around, and have fun. And they will receive at their first session a mini soccer ball of their own. We'll give it to them. It's just a small, very small soccer ball in their own jersey as displayed on the screen right here. If there's any questions otherwise about Playground, don't hesitate to reach out, reply to the confirmation email that you should have received yesterday, and email playground@ayso300.org. These are the kits. Derek, have we changed the uniforms yet for United? Are those new or no?
Yes, they'll be new this year, so we just don't have the updated renderings.
Yeah, so what you're looking is actually an old version of our United jerseys, but anyway, we'll soon to come the new version. Again, and we're wrapping up here, but the whole idea of United Academy is really player development, but also knowing that not all families want more soccer, but many families, many kids want more soccer than what core is. More soccer during the week, more competitive soccer, perhaps, certainly more skill player development, which only happens by playing more and practicing more. So that's the whole idea behind Academy. And again, we have teams that play each other in our backyard still. They're not traveling yet. This is, again, starting second graders and above. And so again, that's what Academy is all about. We do things beyond just a fall season and a spring season. Your fall teams in core, your team will actually carry over into the spring. If you registered your child as fall only, we'll even reach out to you at the end of the fall season to see if perhaps you've changed your mind and you'd like them to play in the spring as well. So our fall teams in core, they will have the same coach, the same uniform, the same team name, team number, in the spring as they did in the fall. Between those seasons, we do offer, at an additional cost, camps that are run by our United coaches. And you can look at the past camps that we've had at ayso300.org/camps. But those camps typically will include a Thanksgiving season camp, indoor camps during the winter and futsal, spring break camps. And then we just wrapped up, or we're wrapping up, I think now, maybe it was last week, our summer camps. Finally, I think this is the final slide. Just some resources for you all. If you have further questions, I encourage you to go to AYSO300.org, which is our public website. /registration is a lot of answers to frequently asked questions about the program. AYSO300team.org. That is what we call our team website, and that's the site you used to register. If you're a coach or a referee, you will use that site to communicate with your team roster and view your team roster. If you're a referee, you'll use that site to eventually self-schedule what games you want to referee. If you're a parent, you can log into your team website, and eventually, once rosters are posted and the game schedule is posted, you will be able to go there to see both your schedule as well as view the roster for your child. AYSO300.org schedule is another way to view your game schedule once it's been posted. And again, I've already mentioned the guidelines and the Facebook page. And then finally, these are just some email addresses that Derek really loves that I put his email on the slide. But if you have questions, that are not answered by the website, here are some places you can reach out to us. There, in addition to the uniforms at AYSO300.org, the fields at AYSO300.org for any field issues or let's say hazards that you see at the field. There's also volunteer at AYSO300.org, which right now is primarily being used for recruiting more coach and more referee volunteers. And with that, I think we're gonna, let me first ask Derek before we get into Q&A. Derek, is there anything else you'd like to say before we solicit questions from parents?
I'll just leave it at use our website. Drew and I spent a lot of time over the course of last year updating the website. So we tried to make it very user-friendly. The calendar, we talked about that here on the call. Please reference the calendar. We've added a search function to make it even easier to navigate and find information on the website. So, while we are available and willing to answer questions, just know that as volunteers, we may not always be the quickest to get back to you. So please use the search function, use the website. We really think that all the information is available for you right there online. So try that as a resource, and chances are you will find the answer to your question. So appreciate everyone's time and really looking forward to a great season. So that being said, we'll open it up for questions.
Any questions? Wow, that must have been a great presentation. All right, well, feel free to interrupt me if you think of something. We'll stick around for a little bit, Derek and I. But in general, I hope this has been a good use of your time. I hope if you have other questions, you'll reach out to us, let us know. We want to make sure no one's lost in this process. Let me just assure everyone, there's a lot of work going on right now behind the scenes. And it's not just Derek and I. We have many, many volunteers that are putting a lot of hours, days, and weeks into this and preparing for the season. So we appreciate your volunteer help, whatever you might be doing. If you're not doing anything at the moment for AYSO, it's just a matter of time. We're looking forward to you signing up for something down the road, and hope you all have a great season. Hope your kids have a great season, and have a great night. Any other questions? We'll hang around for a little bit. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Go Bears.
I forgot they're on.
Yeah. I know how to pick nights.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you picked tonight because last night was the Leagues Cup semifinal, right?
Of course. Any other questions?
No question. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Is there a group chat for team? There's really not. There's actually in our team website, there's a message function, but it's not really used. It has to be used by everyone. So, if you wanted to create one, obviously, but no, I mean, we don't like Team Snap would be, for example, a website that does that kind of thing. And we don't have that right now, at least with our league.
I would say a lot of coaches are creating either a text group or a WhatsApp group or just an email thread for their teams, and the head coach will do that.
But at some point, who knows in the future? Yep. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Derek.
Yep. Thanks all.
All right. Good night.
Bye.